right? So the biggest thing you've got to do, and if you're not an organised person, you want to learn to get organised very quickly. First thing you can do, so top tips, always be early. Okay, so try and not come into a meeting if the meeting's due at 8, like there was this morning. Don't come in at 8, try and come in a few minutes before if you can. Again, that way you've got your teas, your coffees, your notepads, your laptops, however you take your notes, iPads, etc., and you're ready to rock. Okay, it's always the same when we're rushing. There's going to be a big queue at the lifts, then you've got to try and get to the 22nd floor, and it stops on all the floors on the way up, and then you just feel rushed and you don't feel planned or prepped. Okay, I think it was Benjamin Franklin that coined the phrase, if you plan to fail, you fail to plan. So again, just remember that. I'm getting a nod from Andrew, so that must be right. Yeah, yes. Good. So a couple of things that we want to cover. First of all is time management. So literally, I kind of just use Outlook as my Bible. So I would advise use your calendar to kind of keep you on the straight and narrow, so you know exactly where you're meant to be at every minute of the day. The other thing to remember is, as a commodity, time is so precious. It's the one thing that's against us. So we start Q1. You'll hear Nigel's CEO sales meeting, when you guys see that today when it's sent out on email from Bev, that he talks about the fact that we're already in the last week of January. It's pretty scary. Okay, I know you guys have maybe started a couple months ago, or maybe just started this year, but time passes, and it passes very quickly. So again, you want to make sure that you're just really aware of your time and your time management.
Time manager, he just
It's a good one to be later, right? So you want to make sure that you use your calendar to maximise your time, okay? You might have other devices that you want to use. So again, different people use tech, different people might be old school, use a diary. Just use whatever's obviously going to be best for you guys. There's no right or wrong, but just make sure you know exactly where you're meant to be at all times. So for time management, guys, what you want to try and do as consultants is try and see as many people as you can in a day, all right? You want to be coming into work. I would suggest coming in at 7:30. You might not be an early bird, but I do think you get a lot out of the day if you start early. So typically, I'm always in for about 7:15 in the morning. It allows me just to gather my thoughts together for what I've got on that day, what I need to do for the team, what I need to do for my clients. And I get a lot done during that period of time until we've got, say, meetings at 8, 8:30, or maybe we're just kicking off the day straight into meetings, okay? So for me, starting early is great, okay? You guys might be opposite. So by the time I get to 6, 7, I'm super tired and I kind of run out of steam and willpower by the end of the day. But some people might come alive. So again, just make sure what works well for you. Do things like, if you do benefit from going to the gym and you do that in the morning, get it done, okay? Because again, mentally you feel more in control. So it's good for mental health. It's obviously great for physical health. And again, this is a mentally challenging as well as physical job. So again, you need to be fit and healthy in order to be able to do it, okay? Because you can't really afford to be sick because we don't get paid, all right? So again, seriously, commission only, we want to make sure we're fit and healthy. So go to the gym in the morning, or if it's something you benefit from at night, then again, schedule that into your day. Otherwise, you can find yourself just working 24/7, okay? And vice versa, if you're not that planned, you're not going to be working as hard as what you should be. So coming in the mornings, like I say, I recommend 7:30, but if you do come in at 8:30, again, just make sure you're then getting planned and prepped for the day ahead. What I would say is try and get to see your clients at 10, 12, 2, 4 and 6. Okay, because if you're out and about, like we covered in the last session, you do have enough time to get from one side of Dubai to the other. Okay, and then try and just understand the physical map of Dubai. So again, what you don't want to be doing is having a meeting at 10 a.m. at the airport, and then you've got 12 o'clock at Jebel Ali, and then you've got 2 o'clock at DIFC. It makes no sense if you're going south, then north, and then back into the middle. So again, just be planning that out when you've got a rough idea of where things are. So you can kind of go from A to B, and it makes sense. Okay, especially if you're taxiing or taking the metro, okay, or if you're hiring a car. So just try and plan your meetings out as best you can. If you're in the office, then really you could be doing meetings on the hour every hour, okay, and that obviously doubles up the time that you've got. But like I was saying on our initial meeting, it's better for you guys when you first start to do face-to-face, okay, because again, you're going to get a far better impact when you meet somebody, when you can physically shake their hand, when they can see how professional you look, and as I said before, even better if you get them to come into this office. So you don't have to leave the office, you're not having to spend money going on a taxi or metro, or you're hiring a car to get there. And of course, sometimes the onus is on us to buy the tea or coffee. Okay, so I know what it's like when you first start. You want to keep every penny you've got. Get them in here. Again, super professional when you walk into the office. We've got Greg giving out the teas and coffees, doesn't cost a penny. Okay, so again, just be smart with how you plan. What you want to do is achieve as much productivity as you can. So again, making sure that you split your day. So you guys are all learning products, you're probably having one-to-ones with managers, you're probably having side training with managers or other senior members of the team. So again, just make sure your full day is not taken up with that, because what you want to do is try and get on the phones as quick as possible, and you guys have to book your own meetings. Okay, the biggest failure I think in consultants, whether they either step up from being a BDA to a consultant or come in at consultant level, is you don't want to get on the phones, which is mental. Okay, because again, if you're responsible for your own diary, you're going to have to pick up the phone and do that role as a BDA. Okay, I had to do it for 6 months until I got up and running, and then I got my first coordinator, who happened to be Jordan. She's now a consultant. So you have to make sure that until you're up and running, you've proven to your manager in the company, you can then work with a BDA, because you can then get them out of debt and they can earn off you. Again, make it as quick as possible, so hit the ground running when it comes to getting the BDA pitch. I know I've encouraged Andrew and Faith, go in on the BDA training sessions, because they're really good use of your time. Obviously, if you've got a consultant session, that will supersede BDA, but if there's nothing in your diary and there's a BDA session on, jump in on that. Okay, don't be too proud, or don't think, oh, that's a junior role, that's beyond me. Again, you're going to fall flat because there's nothing in your diary. If you've got nothing in your diary, guys, you can't sell. Okay, same for me. If there's nothing in my diary, I've got no one to speak to. What am I going to do to make money this week? So get that pitch, understand how to deliver it, sit in and listen to the top guys. 2 top guys in my room, I would say, are Ryan and Lewis. So you can sit and actually just listen to them pitch all day, and then you're going to benefit from that. Okay, on the other side, I'd say Bertie, Kush and Robbie are the top BDAs on the other side. So again, you want to sit with those BDAs and learn as much, absorb as much as you possibly can from them. Okay, and then you want to hit your phone as well. So when you're dialing out, guys, again, you might want to say, okay, well, Monday, Tuesday is going to be my phone day. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I'm going to sit in meetings with prospects. Okay, and try and balance it out like that. Ideally, what you want to try and do is see 5 people a week. So to see 5 people in a week, we've got a swerve rate of 50%, as you'll all be aware. You need to be booking in 10 meetings. Okay, so 5 for whatever reason. Hopefully there'll be genuine rebooks and they book in for the following week, but we all know that people just say yes to the meeting and then they ghost us. Okay, so there's always going to be an element of that. Do not let that deject you. Do not feel disappointed. This is the nature of what we do. Okay, it's sales, no matter which way we dress it up. So it is just a numbers game. Okay, so try and get 10 meetings in the diary in order for you to sit 5. When you then sit 5, maybe 2 or 3, you'll be able to do a fact find. Hopefully all 5 if they're really quality meetings. And again, you guys will know if it's quality because you've booked it yourself. But once you've sat it, you want to obviously make sure you can get that fact find done, which leads on to the training that I did last week. Okay. Other things you want to do is be very aware that when you first start, there's going to be this triangle, which then inverts after 6 months. So this is how it should look for you just now, just so you think, am I doing the right thing? Get something about this bit. Okay. So there is going to be the majority of what you're doing is cold calling on a daily basis. Like it or loathe it, learn to love it, guys. Just make sure you master it, okay? Just do it. Nobody really particularly likes it, but it needs to be done, okay? Networking, massive for you guys. So if you really hate cold calling and you're not going to cold call, then you're going to have to double up on the networking, okay? And then the other way is referrals, okay? Which again, everybody's connected to somebody in Dubai. So if you think about trying to mind map you and who you're connected to, that's a great way to do it. So what I mean by that, let's say, okay, we've got you here, and then obviously let's say your sister's friend from uni is now working out here for Deloitte. Okay, reach out to her, do you want to have a cup of tea? Do you want to go for a drink? Do you want to do brunch? I'm doing brunch with other people. I'm looking to make friends. Everybody knows what it's like to be a new person here in Dubai, and it's very, very open that way, okay? Maybe you've got your cousin that's here. Maybe there's someone from your own university or your own school that's now working here. Maybe somebody from a previous job and you've got a connection. Okay, but a lot of the time if it's not first connections, it's going to be second. Also, what you want to do is work on your LinkedIn. Okay, because again, the more connections you've got, the better. And then of course you can then start to ref up on your connections on LinkedIn and then be really aware about what you're doing for social. Okay. So again, I would definitely advise for networking, you do something that's social for you, something you enjoy. Okay, so whether you like rugby, football, cricket, netball, book club, cooking, could be anything at all, whatever your passion is, I can't tell you, that has to come from within, then I would join that club. Okay, because it's a great way for you to go and meet new people. All right, and then naturally, you're going to have conversations. What do you do? Oh, we're super busy right now, we do da 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 da. It's rhetorical, they're going to ask you what you do, and that's where you've got your opportunity for an elevator pitch. Okay, so elevator pitch, again, when you're first starting, I would be using FX. So we've already covered Lauren, so if you don't know Lauren already, go meet her. She works in the same room as Rianne in marketing. But Lauren can beat the bank rate by up to 4% for us. So again, what a great tagline when you're speaking to someone for the first time. So what we do is we actually help our clients with foreign exchange. We can beat the bank rate by up to 4%. Are you sending money internationally? They'll either say yes or no. You send money home for your family. Listen, we won't talk shop now. I'll give you a shout on Monday, and I can obviously book you in for a meeting. I can open up a complimentary account. The other one you want to be using is the structured notes. So structured notes are great just to kind of whet somebody's appetite. So again, we've got fixed income, we've got 100% capital protection, we've got a 90% capital protection, we've got tech exposure, we've got index exposure. So we've got something that suits everyone's appetite. Okay, but again, what you don't want to do is get into a pitch then and there. You want to kind of just have a bit of a pullback, swap details, and then give them a call on the Monday and get them booked in. Okay. But you've got to be doing, if you're really bad at cold calling or you refuse to do it, then obviously own up to that. And then you've got to double up on that networking and really look to see who you're connected to try and get referrals for introductions. Okay?
Claire,
so I'd see, yeah,
sorry,
go for it.
can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So in the elevator pitches, as you were talking about, is there anyone that you've ever heard that's quite good? Because obviously, when you're meeting somebody, yeah, I'm a financial consultant with De Beers Group or Acumen, right? But normally, I think you'd rather want to phrase it in a way in which you say, when people, because you get asked all the time, right? What is it that you do? What brings you to Dubai,
Yeah.
right? So is there any particular elevator pitch that you like I help people plan for their retirement, blah, 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 if there's any way in which people pitch that you think is good?
I wouldn't hear it because obviously it's happening when they're doing
Yeah.
something themselves. All I can give you is what's worked well for me. So I typically wouldn't say I deal with retirement planning.
Yeah.
It's boring. Nobody
Yeah.
really wants to talk about their retirement planning.
Sure.
I've never met anyone out in public who goes, oh yeah, can you help me with my retirement planning?
Yeah.
It doesn't really happen. So it's more about the immediate gain.
Yeah.
So the two that I would use are the ones I've just covered with FX,
Okay.
which again is a win, it's a foot in the door. As soon as they have opened up an FX account, they become your client.
Yeah.
So then you can work on that. And then people are going to be either motivated by greed a lot of the time,
Yeah.
or how they can save money. So again, structured notes work well when you're going, okay, well, we've got something at 19% per annum. They're like, well, tell me more. How did I get that? My bank's giving me 1.2%.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I break that down and kind of work on those two aspects.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
But feelers, like everybody's different, so you might have a great strapline that would work for retirement planning.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is going to be your first 6 months, guys. Second 6 months, it typically inverts, where you have to do less cold calling because obviously you're gaining some clients. Networking stays the same, but this ref pool becomes much bigger because what you've done from the cold calling and the networking, they're then giving you referrals. Make sense? All right. So what you want to do is get to this position as quick as you can, which is why I suggest there's only 3 ways in which we can get business. I would tackle all 3. Okay, but again, like I say, if you're really bad at this, just double up on the networking, so you might feel you're better off face to face and you do a better job that way. Okay, but just recognise your own skill set, but don't give up on the cold calling if you've never tried it. All right, and you're not going to nail it day one. It's something you just have to persist with. Okay, guys. So daily structure, and like I said before, if you are coming in early, the usual things, because obviously you might not come from a financial background, but even if you have done, you need to be up to date with what's happening globally. So be on Bloomberg, be on CNN, be on BBC World News. You need to know what's happening with current affairs, and you also need to know what's happening with the markets. So every week I typically do a quiz with the team, questions that we'd ask in there: where did the S&P finish and was it up or down? FTSE, Eurostoxx, you need to know what's happening with global markets. Okay, and that way again you can have better conversations and just little sound bites when you're actually speaking to folk. Okay. So what we want to do, always, as I said, get in early. Self-development's another strong one. So whether that's in your own time For self-development for me, I quite like to do that before I go to bed. So again, like James Green covered on the launch, practice gratitude. So sometimes people think it's pink and fluffy, but I actually think it's really fundamental to what we do. So we are, or we should be, super grateful to be here. Look at where we are, look what else is happening globally. You know, a stone's throw away from us is war. Okay, yet we're sitting here in this 5-star lifestyle with such an opportunity to write our own paycheck every week. So you want to make sure that you practice gratitude, but do that self-development. So whether it's looking at books on persistency, books on how to manage your time better, maybe it's Tony Robbins that inspires you, it could be David Goggins, it could be anybody at all, but it's quite good even get on YouTube. Okay, so if you don't want to have to read, if you're more of a kinesthetic learner, get on YouTube, watch the self-help videos, even if it's 5-10 minutes a day, you'll benefit from that. Okay, and again, just keep that going because it's just good discipline and it's good for your routine. Okay, keeps your head clear as well, I think. Always be reading, always be learning. Okay, so you obviously got to be learning about products, but learning about yourself as well. Okay, knowledge is power at the end of the day, so the more information we've got, the better. All right. Covering off minimum standards as well. I think we've done this before, or I've certainly done a few key sessions, but again, just for you guys to benefit from your day, it's always good to know, have I done enough? What am I doing? Sometimes you think you're working really hard, but you're not necessarily working smart. Okay, so for minimum standards, what you want to be looking at is what do I need out of my day? So especially when obviously you're on the phones, BDAs will know this, you need at least 1 hour talk time a day. Okay, this is not hard to achieve, but you have to be focused. Okay, so you think about it, 8:30 till 5:30, we've got 9 hours. Take an hour out for lunch, even take 15 minutes out for a coffee break in the morning and the afternoon. There's still a load of time in which you can be on the phones. Okay, you can even do an hour in the morning if you're really focused and you phone from like 10 through to 12. You're probably going to hit an hour's talk time. Okay. The other thing you want to do, guys, is dial 100 dials a day. Okay, and then on top of that, we want to wash 250 names per week. Okay, and ultimately, what we're trying to do is book 2 per day. Okay, but as I said, even if you guys get 1 and it's 1 quality a day, that's going to be 5 in the diary for the week. Ideally, you want 2 because you want to try and sit 5, but even use that as a starting position. Now, the reason we've got these minimum standards, if you've spoken for an hour on the phone, you're likely to have booked in 1 appointment. If you've done 100 dials, but maybe only had 30 minutes, again, you've probably dialed through enough people that you're likely to book 1 appointment. Okay, and you've got to wash 250 a week, which again, break it down, so 50 a day that you need to find on LinkedIn, or when you're networking, or any other sources of information that way that you're using for lead generation. That's all you've got to wash per week. The reason to do that is you've got to keep your core fresh. Okay, or the 500 names, 400 names, 300 names, whatever you've got on core, you're just basically dialing the same old numbers every day, and that's obviously not finding any result. Okay, so you've got to keep your core fresh. So if you do that, you're likely to get that 1 booking, and of course if you do more than that, you're going to get 2. And some days you're going to be able to actually maybe just dial 20 names and you book 2. Sometimes you've only done 15 minutes on the phone and you book 2. So again, it just depends on the quality of your data, and it also depends on your attitude. Okay, so if you go on the phones and it's, hi, it's Claire from Devere and I'm going through the motions and I hate cold calling, they're going to sense that. So you've got to remember the person you're pitching has never heard your pitch before. Okay, they might have heard somebody from Devere or any other IFA out there, or banks or cold calls in general, but they've never heard your pitch. Okay, so make it sound different. Okay, be engaging, ask the right questions, open-ended questions like we covered in the last session. Okay, all of this doesn't really matter if you're booking. Okay, so I say to my guys, I don't really care if Ryan does an hour on the phone, as long as there's 2 firsts in the diary, I'm fine with that, and as long as they're qualified bookings. Similarly, I don't care if he's done 100 dials, if he's done 10, what I would be saying to him, do another 10, we might get another 2. Okay, or if he's done 45 minutes, he's booked 2 appointments, I'm like, do another 45, we'll get 4. Yeah, so again, this is just being really aware of your own stats. Then you're able to drill this down. So remember, working with Jordan, she was incredible as a BDA, where not only did she have me super organised, but she knew her standards. So she knew that if she, first of all, when she first started, 100 dials meant 1 appointment. Then she drilled that down to 72, then she drilled it down to 50. And then when she was at her peak, it was 24 dials. Every 24 dials equaled a booking. Okay, so again, you want to know your own stats, your own ratios, and then work accordingly. Okay, same as when you then book appointments in, you'll then know it's taking 5 to book 1. Okay, or it's taking 7 meetings and you're getting 1 conversion or 2 conversion. Okay, so again, that will come down to the quality of the appointment and then how good you are on the appointment as well. Okay, but those minimum standards in place, again, just to get you kicked off, guys, and you know that if you're doing this, stick with it. So it might not work on a Monday, and maybe on the Monday you've gone through all the rubbish data that's on core, or maybe you've just had the kind of bad luck. That's your bad luck out the way. Okay, the next day's going to be better. So as long as you finish Monday going, well, I did do 100 dials, and I have actually done an hour and 15 minutes call time, I've done everything I could do, and you just have to trust the process. Okay, because it won't always be like that. Again, it's cliche as it sounds, but it's sales. So for every no you get, you're closer to the yes. So you've got to keep going. Yeah. Now there's 3 types of people that we're going to speak to, guys. So the first person is going to be the person that will always say no. And again, we have to expect rejection. We have to expect people to say no to us. So again, when we have that level of expectation, we shouldn't be then disappointed when it comes. Okay, it's no problem. We move on to the next one. So again, I have the rule of 3 strikes and they're out. So again, I'm probably going to get a false objection initially. Then I'm going to have another objection. Then I might get a third true objection. I'll try and overcome 3, but then I'm not going to flog a dead horse. Okay, so if they're not then going to be responsive, I'll just thank them for their time, never be rude, even if they're being rude to you. Always leave a good taste in someone's mouth. Again, you're representing the company, you're representing you and your own brand, and you're going to still be here 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years down the line, having built a book. You never want somebody at brunch to go, oh yeah, I worked with Claire, but she was, I got a call from her one time, she was super rude. Okay, so again, always maintain professionalism. So the 3 types of people you're going to speak to, guys, that first person, as I mentioned, is always going to be a no. I can't book them in, you can't book them in, the top BDA in the world can't book them in, they're always going to say no, okay? Accept that. The second type of person is the one that you phone and it's like you've known them all your life and you've got on amazingly well with them, and they're like, oh, Andrew, I can't believe you called. I was literally speaking to my wife about this last night. We're really concerned about pension. We've been here 8 months now. We've done nothing about it. We've got money building up in a bank account here. We know that's not smart. I'm using my bank to send money back to the UK to pay the mortgage. Again, I know that I'm paying way too much. What can you help me with? Okay, and that's like amazing. That's awesome. But again, you're only going to find that person if you do those 100 dials or that hour talk time. And then the third type of person, guys, is the person that's swaying. Okay, that's the one where we need to be good at conversion, we need to be good at question techniques, have those open-ended questions and ask the right questions in order to push their buttons. We then use that information to give us back on them. Andrew, you said you're concerned about your kids' education planning. That's exactly one of the things that we offer. Okay, how old is your child? He's 10 already. Okay, look, we only have 8 years to plan. So this is actually creating a bit of urgency. We need to meet sooner rather than later. Build the urgency, okay? But that's the person that either you're going to be on your game that day, and it does come down to your attitude. So you have to be upbeat, you've got to be buoyant, you've got to be positive at all times, and you've got to paint this picture. Why wouldn't you sit with me? Okay, you'd be crazy not to sit with me. Then when you have your BDA, they would have the same attitude where they sell you, they sell the company. But until you guys are working with the BDA, you've got to sell yourself, sell the company, and make the appointment sizzle as well. You've got to make people see why they need to sit down with you. Okay, so that's the kind of person you're going to speak to most. Okay, and that's the ones where you've got that 50-50 chance. All right. Any questions on that at all, guys? No. Coming back to the networking events, just give you guidance because it's part of minimum standards. You want to be doing at least 2 networking a week. Okay. So 2 events. So that could be if you are playing football, that could be one of them. And then you might want to be going to, I don't know, let's say launch of the new Aston Martin at the Atlantis. Okay, again, that's an event you want to go to because people have got money if they're buying an Aston Martin. But there's always loving to buy, there's time out to buy, there's all these social media outlets that are telling you what's happening. So again, there's so many of them that are free. Okay, there's loads of things that do not cost money here. Just go to things. Okay, and again, you might be quite introverted as a person. You've got to get out there in order to meet people. Okay, so just push yourself to go to these events. All right, and then when you're there, don't be the wallflower. You've got to then mingle. Okay, so again, even say to yourself, right, I'm going to go to this event. I'm going to speak to 5 people, then I'm going to leave. But at least you're spoken to 5 people, got 5 people's name and numbers, and that's 5 new people you can speak to on Monday to get them booked in. Okay, but if you're doing no networking and you hate cold calling, then where do you think your business is going to go?
Nowhere.
Yeah, exactly. And then you're like, oh, Devere's rubbish. They didn't give me any help. They didn't do this, they didn't do that. We train you, we give you all the information, but everything else is then on you guys to implement. Okay, I can't go networking for you. You can get yourself to the point where you don't need to go networking anymore. Okay, which again you will do after a couple of years in. But again, if you're really good at it, why wouldn't you sustain it and keep doing it? Okay, so again, just play to your strengths. All right, guys. Data source, really important. Okay, it's something that I bang the drum for new BDAs. But if you've got a data source, then that's freeing up your time to be doing more towards the consultant side of the job. Okay, so if you've got somebody that you've met at MSMD and they're happy to feed you data through, or if you've got somebody at the BMW showroom, again, happy to feed data to you, or maybe it's somebody you're connected to, like somebody who's working at Deloitte and give you the full list of Deloitte employers, or employees rather, then that's the type of thing you want to start relying on in order to get data coming through. Other ways in which you can do it, Fiverr, obviously a marketplace, you can use them, you pay somebody to scrape data for you, you would then tell them, this is what I'm looking for. But if you're tech savvy yourself and that's something you could be doing for like 2 hours on a Sunday afternoon, again, why wouldn't you? Yeah, you really do need to breathe life and soul into this business plan and into your work until you're then up and running, where you can then probably get your weekends back. But no matter what you're doing in Dubai, you're then exposed to somebody that you could potentially help. Okay, like I've covered before, it's only locals we probably wouldn't work with because they don't really get the concept of what we do. But every nationality needs help sending money out of here because nobody keeps their money here. Nobody's going to retire here. So they're going to send their dirhams back to sterling, or they're going to send it to euro, for example. So if they're sending it to another currency, and again, I think there's like 50 odd currencies that Lauren can utilise for us, then why wouldn't we get them to do that? Okay, great starting point for you guys. Covered it in the fact find as well. We want to be talking about protection. That's a great elevator pitch as well. Okay, so go in with the stats. Stats are all over Share Drive. Okay, on, I think I mentioned last week, cancer stats 1 and 2. But critical illness cover isn't a given here. Yes, you get medical insurance, and maybe what you're specialising in is pioneering the need for critical illness cover. Okay, do you have it in place? No, I don't. Is that something that interests you? Okay, let me give you a call next week and I can send you a few quotes. Okay, the easy sell with protection, guys, there's no fee or charge. You're not having to go through an ICP, or you're going to have to pay 5.5% on initial units and then 1.2% annual with a $5 fee monthly. There is no fee on protection. Okay, so again, life insurance for term insurance anyway, there's no fee, easiest thing for you guys to sell. Okay. Consistency is a major word that you need to remember. So again, Ash Dykes covered it. I feel like I keep quoting Ash Dykes, but it was such a powerful quote where he said we don't always have motivation, but we can always be disciplined. So again, part of that comes consistency, because you have to have that routine built, and my routine just stays the same. And I know that if I just trust that routine and trust my process, I will find business every week. I'll get to where I need to on the leaderboard, and I finish hitting my target for the year. Okay, but you've got to believe that that process is right, and then again, fulfill your time. Okay, we're not messing around or leaving at 4 o'clock because you're like, well, I've got nothing else in the diary. Stay till 5:30, stay till 6, dig for data, do things that are actually going to make you money. And the key to what we do, guys, is you've got to get uncomfortable to get comfortable. Once you've tackled that, things will then start to change for sure. But consistency is key. Okay, so whereby every day you need to be doing that hour on the phones, or maybe you're structuring your week where you're doing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday phone work, and then Thursday, Fridays when you're going to see your clients. Okay, or maybe it's going to be every morning you're going to do your phone work, and then you're going to be out in the afternoon seeing your meetings. All right. And other thing I just want to touch on, go onto the shared drive. There's something called core guidelines. You guys really need to understand core, because a lot of the time, if you don't understand it, either A, you could be disciplined for basically calling someone that's not washed, and then you might have called somebody else's client. So again, you've got to make sure you wash every name and number before you contact it. And of course, that ring fences it and protects it for you. So that, for example, if I get it to ref, but you've already got it washed to you, doesn't matter the position I hold in the company, I don't supersede, you guys keep it. Okay, so again, be really protective of your data, keep on top of it. It can drop off after a certain period of time, so you need to rewash that data back onto your system. Okay, and that way nobody can step on your toes, and equally, you're not stepping on anyone else's. Okay, so core guidelines, if you haven't seen it already, I can send it to Rianne, she can pop it on the shared drive for us, but it is on shared drive already. Okay. Coming on to business plans. So we've already mentioned fail to plan, you plan to fail. It is so realistic in so many terms. You've got to make sure that you have your professional as well as personal goals in your business plan. And it's really important that you have in there SWOT analysis. Is everybody familiar with SWOT analysis? Have you done it before? Or hands up if you don't know what it is. Yeah, cool. So SWOT analysis, I love it. Okay, you get so much out of doing this. And literally what you want to be doing, guys, your business plan needs to be reviewed. So you kick it off obviously for Q1 for 2024, and then you review it every quarter, and it can change all the time, okay? Because obviously if you're not on target, you might need to review it so it's more realistic, or if you're smash target, you might want to increase it, okay? But with SWOT analysis, so we've got an S, strengths, weaknesses for W, opportunities and threats. So you can map this out for you. Okay, but again, I'll just kind of make this more interactive. Faith, give me one of your strengths.
Communication.
Okay, perfect. Guys, just shout out. Strengths,
B. Relationship building.
relationship, yeah.
Sales experience.
Sales experience, yeah.
Organizational skills.
Yeah,
Personal story.
okay. Personal story, yeah.
Knowledge.
Knowledge,
Analytical.
say again.
Analytical.
Analytical, yeah. What else we got? You could be persistent.
Planning.
Say again.
Planning.
Planning, yeah.
Time management.
Plan, time management. Okay, you get the idea, guys, okay, but overlay it for you as an individual. Weaknesses, shout out your weaknesses, guys. I'll give you mine. Stubborn.
Organization.
Exactly, yeah. Organization, yeah. Lazy. Unplanned. Basically the opposite of everything here, right? Okay, opportunities.
Networking events.
Yeah. Networking events. CISI, huge opportunity for you. Devere, the company, massive commission. Anything else?
Growth.
The moment, the Dubai, the environment of Dubai right now.
So Dubai, I think it's a massive one. Tax-free income.
Sunshine.
So yeah, it's a happy place. It is though.
It
I mean,
is.
what other country's got the Ministry of Happiness? We do.
Yeah.
Right? So it is. It's a happy place to live. It's blue sky, sunshine, pretty much every day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Trouble is, if you've got family in the UK, better not to mention that at the present moment in time.
Get them to come out and see you as well. Okay, threats, guys.
Wait, threats, did you
Yep.
say?
Threats.
Competition.
Yeah.
Competition. Yeah.
Wrong data.
Reputation.
Uh,
Data.
Geopolitical events.
Yeah. So markets. Yeah.
Yep.
I'll give you one. You. Okay, honestly, the biggest threat to your business model is ourselves, 99% of the time. Okay, so with this, what's really cool about it is once you've identified, because it's great, everyone go, I'm great at this, that, and the other. It's harder, and that's why you can see we've got way more in strengths than we do in weakness, because everyone's a little bit scared to shout out what their weaknesses are. But if you identify what your weaknesses are, then that's really easy for you to then go, right, okay, I know that that's my problem. How can I actually make that a strength? Or how can I turn it into an opportunity? All right. So for example, let's say for me, stubborn, it's one of those weaknesses which is kind of good but bad at the same time. So I need to manage that with myself. Okay. So with that, I can either beat myself up because I feel that why did that person not sign? But you've got to remember you're never going to get 100% conversion rate. Okay. No matter how like obvious it should be. Okay. There's always going to be situations why people just don't do it. Whether they've been spooked, whether they just have second thoughts, they have buyer's remorse, could be anything. Okay, it's not necessarily something you've done. Stubborn, what I try and then do is I've then managed to pull this into strength because I don't quit and I keep going. Okay, when I was in your position, there was the first 6 months of the company and I literally leveled off. So I joined in the July got to Christmas and went home, and I looked at what I had achieved in the last 6 months. It was literally the same as if I'd stayed in that horrible job that I was doing in the UK and I absolutely hated. I liked what I was doing here, but I found it such a challenge and I didn't feel like I was cracking it. And I was like, why is this not working for me? But I made the exact same amount of money, so I wasn't any worse off, and if anything, you're better off because you're not paying tax. So then I decided, okay, I'm going to give it another shot, come back in January, and then that was literally where light bulb moment for me. Everything just fell into place, and then it just flowed from there. Okay, so you're going to have those days where the job is an emotional roller coaster. Okay, literally that's just the nature of what it is. What you've got to learn to do is just manage that. Okay, manage the highs with the lows. When I used to work in advertising, there was a trainer there. She was an amazing trainer actually, and she used to say to me, sales is like, if you imagine like a serene swan on a really still pond, okay, and literally you can imagine that swan, it just glides across the water effortlessly. But actually what's happening is that little swan is paddling like crazy underneath the surface. And that is literally what we do. That's the best analogy I can give anyone. So when you feel you're like, oh my God, this isn't for me, dig deep, stick with it, speak to your manager. You can always come and speak to me. I've got open door policy, but we will get through it. And it's the people that persevere and stick with it and become successful. Okay, because you need to understand there's going to be highs along with the lows. Okay, so I kind of manage this, guys. I do still obviously have to kind of remind myself when I'm being stubborn, but bring it into here and make it a strength. Okay, organisation, we have that on here, so yeah, awesome. But if you let that slip, as Andrew then brought it in here, it's then going to be a weakness. Okay, if your attitude, so I think we had, we should have had attitude in here. Where do we put it? Let's say you. Okay, so if your attitude isn't right, it then becomes a threat to your business model. Okay, so again, you can control that. So when you know you can control it, it should definitely either be in the opportunity or it can be in the strength box. Okay, you wake up and you determine how you're going to be that day. Okay, when you didn't have a good sleep last night or you're feeling a bit under the weather, you decide how you're going to be. Okay, how you're going to actually project. Okay, what we do is projection. Okay, when you're feeling a bit off and a bit down, again, clients or prospects are going to hear that or see that when they meet you. Okay. Networking events, huge opportunity, but if you don't do them, guess what? It's going to become a threat or it's going to become a weakness because you're not actually doing it. Yeah. CISI, if you fail it, you don't put the study work in, again, it's going to be a threat to your business model, or you go fail it, waste the money. It's now a weakness. Okay, so you can see where we're going with that, guys. Do it for yourself and be really honest. Okay, I would actually overlay this with personal on it. Okay, so it could be, for example, opportunity. You might want to have family on here, so you might want to pay off your mum's mortgage. You might want to pay off your own mortgage. You might want to, you're hiring a car to get to work. You might then want to be able to be in a position where you can actually buy a car or even take a few steps back if you're having to walk. If you're having to get a taxi everywhere, then get yourself in a position where you can actually rent a car or lease a car. Okay, and then there's going to be things like your own personal goals, like get 5 grand in the bank, 10 grand in the bank, 50 grand in the bank, 100 grand in the bank, work it up, okay? But always remember why you're here, okay? And like most clients, the stat on the LinkedIn is 72% of expats leave the UAE in a worse financial position than they did when they arrived, which is bonkers because we only come for one thing, which is what?
Money, tax-free
Money,
income.
tax-free income. Thank you, Andrew. Okay, it's literally tax-free income. Sun, sea, sand, amazing. Lifestyle, amazing. Low crime rate, if any at all. It's a fantastic place to live, but we come for the tax-free income. Yet, nobody's actually then benefiting from that, which again is a message we have to get across. Okay, but remember, as financial advisors, we can't be sitting in your skin trying to be giving financial advice. So be smart with your own money as well. Okay. Any questions on SWOT analysis?
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Part of that should obviously be built into the business plan, but other things in the business plan, obviously you have to have it factual. Okay, so if you don't have anything to kind of like go off right now, look at what average stats are, sit with your manager, they'll give you guidance, and then set a realistic goal. I would say your first year as a consultant, you should be aiming for 70 to £100,000. If you smash that, guys, amazing, you're probably going to win top newcomer, and we're all going to be super stoked for you. But if it's less than that, we need to be thinking, right, well, why is it less than that? And you guys are going to be questioning that too. Okay, but everyone's got their own personal goals and targets. But I would say be aiming between that 70 and 100, and then it can always be reviewed on a quarterly basis. As I mentioned already, have that professional and personal goal. Please don't be a busy fool. Okay, so again, don't kid yourself that you're being busy all day when actually there's nothing to show for it. Okay, so you're not fooling anyone, it's literally yourself and you're just wasting an opportunity. So really kind of dial down on what it is you need to do. If you're ever stuck, again, ask your manager what you should be doing, because they want you up and running as soon as possible as well. Okay. I've covered it already. Work hard, of course, but please work smart. Okay, so if we can automate half the tasks that we're doing, it's so much easier. Okay, so like this, you guys don't even need to take your own notes. Rianne's taking the notes, then she's uploading it to Share Drive. That's great, but it's only going to be useful if you guys then refer back to that. Okay, so again, make sure you're utilising that time as well. And that's basically it. Just remember what the input is, that basically drives the output. Okay, guys. Business plans, there's loads of the stuff that you can put in there. I sent it to Andrew last week. Daily goals, weekly goals, quarterly goals, yearly goals, personal goals, professional goals. A couple for my team that I've been doing on one-to-ones last week, which were really good. Career goals. Okay, so where do you actually want to be? Do you want to get into management yourself? Or are you looking to maintain just consultant and have that flexibility and freedom? Improvements, expectations, how many clients you want to be bringing in, that's another great one to focus on. Obviously having your yearly target, so if it is 100 grand, how are you going to achieve it? Are you going to front load Q1 and then front load Q2 so you take the pressure off? Other top tip for me, just before we wrap it up for today, always aim to achieve your annual target by the end of November. So 30th November should be your cut-off point. Why? What you don't want to do is wait until, let's say, 15th of December, which was when we finished last year, and then you're like, oh, if only I had another week, I would have hit target. So if you're ahead of the game and your plan for that in January is very achievable, guys. So I'm not saying stop working, but by the time 30th of November rocks around, you're obviously going to keep working through the first 2 weeks of December, but all that work you're doing, great if we can get it on receipt, brilliant if we can get it issued, it's more money in your bank account for Christmas. But your worst case scenario is you're loading up for January, so that when we come back, Malta then processed, received and issued that business, you fly up the leaderboard and you get off to a really strong start. Okay, so that's top tip for me on business plans. That's pretty much it, guys. Any questions you've got for me?
I was just going to say that thing you said about, you know, you first 6 months and then you went home for Christmas, that was a really good one, because I felt like I did that as well.
Yeah.
And, you know, I was like, okay, this is why I did that, and this is why I could have done better.
Yeah.
But it's nice when other people say it as well, you know.
Self-reflection is massive, and don't feel like you have to handle it yourself, guys, because I've gone through it. Yeah, like, okay, it's nearly 14 years ago now, but I've gone through exactly where you guys have been. So with all your managers, so all the top performers that are sitting around about you, we didn't just come in and then it was like amazing. Okay, it's been really, really amazing times, and then there's been times where you're like flat on the floor. But it's how you're resilient, you pick yourself up from that. And then again, it's trusting the processes. And that's why I'm, again, tying it back to what I said before, this session's so important, because if you get that right, you're going to be on the right path to success. Okay? Thank you so much for your time this morning, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.